valves. Why not? Two basic types of valves that we use to get water out into the field. This is what they call the universal style valve. This would thread onto a riser that is coming up out of the main line. If we had a PVC main line, we'd simply have a threaded T underground and thread a riser into that T and then thread a riser into the base of this valve. This happens to be a 4-inch. They make them in other sizes, but this happens to be a 4-inch size, which is very common. And it's just regular iron pipe size threads. It's a valve with a half coupler welded on it and made galvanized. It's been dipped in galvanizing, so it gives it real long life. The riser itself generally are made out of poly, another type of plastic resin, and this material is slightly more flexible than PVC. So if you had this PVC line underground, this threaded into a T in the PVC line, and then this valve simply threads on top of this riser like this. Now you have a complete unit. If this gets run over in the field by a tractor, by a piece of equipment a tractor's pulling, by a pickup truck or whatever, what will happen, generally it'll either snap the top of the valve off of the riser or it'll break the riser. So the part that you're replacing is simply this riser, and you're not going to break the main line underground or the T that's attached to it. This is the weakest link in the system, and so hopefully and theoretically this is the piece that will break. So this is what we call a poly riser. It's made out of polyethylene, which is a type of plastic material. So with the valve, you're going to have riser. Now, with steel lines, they could have those kind of risers. Oftentimes, they simply weld a piece of steel pipe straight up off of a T of the steel and have the whole thing welded together. Now, if you hit a welded steel riser, you're going to bend or break the steel pipe, and you're going to have to go in there, dig it up, bring in the field welder, and patch it. So there is an advantage to having a riser made out of a plastic material, so that all you need is a shovel and another piece to replace it instead of having to bring a portable welder out. It's just a matter of digging it up, unthreading the broken part, thread the new parts back on with this style. Now, this particular valve has a rubber top that seats down. So water's coming up through the pipe, up through the center of the valve, and then to open the valve, you simply spin the unit up, and water's going to come out of the top. And it can thread all the way out, and inside of it, it's centered with a spider inside that valve. I'm almost there. Set her down here a second, spin it out. And in that spider keeps everything centered, and it anchors the rubber top. And then inside the rubber top, this isn't all rubber, there's a steel plate in the center of it to give it a lot of strength. And then it's coated with rubber so that it has a rubber seat that it will seal on when it closes down over the surface of that valve. Because on most lines, you're only going to have 1, 2, 3, or 4 of these valves open on a line that might be a half a mile or a mile long. So the rest of them have to be sealed off and hopefully not leaking. So the device then that clamps on this valve, to open the valve, we have to have some kind of a device that's going to do that and keep the water trapped within the system. And so that's what we call a valve opening elbow. And down in here I got one.